Hi everyone. Opportunity to do a little bit of video analysis and look at a few points. Try to be as fast as possible. We're going to go into a reverse order from what can be sort of referred to as maybe the least important, leading into the last part, which is going to be the objective of tonight's session at the best of our ability. So point one, this playing out from the back business that we worked on last week, or it was my first session. Have a look. I sort of remember trying to work on our two central midfielders being a little bit more present. I did ask Cody to be able to go in between the two midfielders as often there's space and be present here, and he actually did that. I'm very happy with that. Good. Now what happens is still we do have the other central midfielders, in my opinion, too far away. Now the eight sort of seems to be interested, but not much. And then, however, what I really need a bit more from is Jake. We need you. You're nowhere to be seen. So if these three central midfielders need to provide support to play out from the back, since this seems to be the intent, we need your presence, Jake, there in the middle of the park. Otherwise, what happens is the following: we just, as we've just done, we play it back, okay, but then we just go back to what we usually do, which is just a long ball, and all it takes is someone late or a misunderstanding. We have simply given it back to the opposition. By the way, this is right in the middle of our worst period of the game. Second point, they're not a big issue in the sense that the football games are made up of errors. It's just human nature. It's a sport. However, I'd like you to understand that very, very often games are decided by that. So this is just after around about 4 minutes. There's a long ball, of course, and ball bounces. We can't clear it. A little header that didn't connect, and we almost go behind. Another little bit more of a communication error. So we are about to play a long ball. They sort of clear it backwards. We work hard in the middle of the park at the back here with Adrian to win it back. Heavy touch, but we are in possession now. There should be mutual communication now on our sort of external left wide area. Very, very important. And by a little sort of, as I said, communication mistake, this is what happens, right? And these are little things that can cost us dearly, and that leads to the one of their sort of shots. I did tell players before the game, be careful about this area of the pitch because they got the tendency to receive and have shots. A player in between the lines, everyone is looking at him, and he takes a shot, which again can cost us dearly. Another little one, again, similar to what I showed you first. We have to be very, very careful for the next time. Over these long balls that travel from our front third to our final third, these headers, if should always aim to hit the ball either back where it comes from or out. Hitting the ball on the inside is really, really problematic and suicidal. So rule number one, when you are connecting, when you're trying to clear a ball or long ball, you need to ensure you never hit it back in the center of the park. Point three is a question that I have. How do we actually defend when we talk about space? This is a complicated discussion. While watching your games, I couldn't not notice the following, which is good. We lost the ball, or we are defending. We are sort of deep, and I'm happy with this. Right? We have basically what it's meant to be four 5 here across the park with 1 9, right, which could be working a bit more as an inverted 9 and trying to put pressure, but we still only on the around about the 25th minute of the game. Now, however, in these conditions, if we are so, I would say, flat with two lines, which is, again, the question is this how we want to defend? That's fine. When they have possession, do we want to allow them uh, uh, the time to combine in the middle of the park and have two lines of players? That's perfectly fine if you're happy with that, because you have a very good sort of defensive record so far this season and historically, I guess. What I'm worried about is, however, if we do that, Hamish, it's very important that you stay in your position. Right, I know you're getting dragged to go and mark this player, and again, this needs to be discussed. If a player, if their players populate this space that is, of course, created by having two lines across the park, it cannot be it cannot be our left back being attracted to this marking, but maybe Cody or in that case Lloyd. By then we can't have this space in behind, because pretty much this can happen, and yeah, which is not ideal. My question remains, how do we defend, especially after we've just scored? We are sort of pressing, it seems, uh, in their own half. And how are our defensive lines supposed to be set up? What kind of structure and order do we have? If it's this one, and mind you, we scored just 2 minutes, about 4 minutes earlier, right? Then I'm a bit worried, because then we're still sort of trying to push them and put pressure in their own half. And we got basically our midfielders or almost in the opposite half. And question that I've got is, do we really want to defend like that? Do we really need to be so stretched with our back four quite deep and our uh, midfield line leaving so much space in behind? Are we comfortable with that? I am worried about these when I look at it, because all it takes is players to make these runs in behind, and then again, as I told you, just a week ago, you were always chasing. I believe this is a lot better, especially when you're leading 1-0. So what we could have in the future is going into a 4-4, 4-4-2, having two roaming around and putting sort of almost passive pressure in the middle, from the middle third up, and making sure that at the back it's like that. We got back four, and we've got sort of a second line of interception, and we got maybe one midfielders looking into this space, even when they have possession and the ball is not covered. This is a lot safer than what I showed you before. My question to you is, which one do we want? And mind you, this is only 2 minutes or a few minutes later, basically 4 minutes later from the previous footage I've shown you. So we need to understand that if we go up 1-0, what defensive structure do we set up? I don't think we have one, and I think we have to discuss it to come up with an idea. And the problem, in my opinion, is not where the back line is positioned, because I think we all know that there's a reason why we do that, and I'm not going to waste time now on the video to discuss why that is probably the right approach, considering that you got I think the first or second best defensive record in the league. The problem is, where do we put our midfield line when we don't have the ball? Let's think about that. Point number 4. Now let's look at our organized press that we worked on briefly last week. positive signs, not perfect, of course. So we are on the around about the 15th minute of play or so. So that's good. We are almost doing what I asked you to do. So we got that run and we blocking this part of the pitch. Good. Jake is gonna be taking care of this number 6, and we've got Kaz reacting to blocking the fullback, which is what I asked you to do. Great. This player though should have been picked up a lot earlier. Okay, and I don't think we should have a defender to step up. These should have been automatically, I think it's Lloyd, that's your player. Okay, a second example, almost at the end of the first half. Leandro could have reacted a little bit earlier. Ball is kicked long, not ideal what we did, but again, imagine if we go into a more organized press, how more successful we could be. I told you when oppositions play out from the back, in most cases at this level, they don't really know what they're doing. A third example, we are in the second half now. Yeah, Alejandro go there. Yeah, sort of what we want to do. Again, as soon as you put pressure from behind, this player will boot along. Remember what I told you. I think I've seen and done that long enough to tell you that is what will happen. Final example where it's well before a few minutes before one of the players got sent off, but um, clearly we have now forgotten about our duties. And if we go out on a press, again, an organized press, we need to be a lot more careful in what we do. Point number 5, our crosses. How do we cross? Which is going to be something that we will try to work on tonight, this week, to improve. We work so hard in getting the ball up in the final third in a position where we can cross, as, for example, after just about 2 minutes. Only flamboyant player, always in that great position to take his first touch forward. We do so. Now, clearly, across now, not 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 pointless, I would say, because there's no one inside the box. If you try to cross the ball across, there's a player in between, so very difficult. So best solution would have been for you to attack, as I asked you at the end of the first half, attack the byline, so that gives us time to populate the box. If we just do that, it's a waste of an opportunity. Another one, just a few minutes later. Again, we work hard to get the ball in a certain position. We give it to our winger again. Crossing it now, really, as just before, there's no one. It's wishful thinking. In my opinion, with so much space, I would have attacked the wide area, put your head up, check who's made those runs, and then put in a cross. My opinion, this is a bit of a waste. Another example, we work hard to retain possession. Again, ball out wide. The cross now, again, not really anyone in the box. Wishful thinking. Take it down, put your head up, and see what kind of opportunities exist when you are on this area, here, and here. Allow these players to populate the box. This stage only Kaz was about to enter the penalty box, and truly, again, I don't want to go on too much about it, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4v1. I think, again, we can do better with these crosses. Another example in the second half where it's slightly closer to what I'd like you to do, or what I think you can do to make your crossing a little bit more effective. We got a 1v1 developing. you go down to the byline, great. Now this cross, pointless, there's no one there, okay, again. So we need to work on ways to make sure that when we do these cutbacks, we've got viable solutions ready to make our great effort down the wings a little bit more effective. One final example of where we are in a rush to just put the ball in the box when we don't have numbers. In the second half, again, woof, in. Really not much of a chance there. So thank you for watching again. These 5 points we discussed, our playing out from the back. We still need to rectify that and understand that if we do it, there has to be sort of purpose, and we need the involvement of the central midfielders to come and provide that support as we try to play the ball out. Otherwise, we just go along and forget about it. Remember that point number 2, remember that your individual mistakes can lead to disaster. So beware things like where you had the ball as a result of a long ball. Your clearances are vital. Remember that the reason why we scored was because of a bad clearance by one of their defenders. The ball was rebounded right in the middle of the box and they scored. So that can happen to us as well. Point number 3, it's a question that I got to you. How do we want to defend really? When we don't have the ball, where and how? And our press, point number 4, remember we press for a reason, a bit more of a structured approach. And yeah, which leads into point number 5, which was like what I spotted was our wasteful way of putting crosses, which hopefully tonight will work on.
Afinando, ya cobra, pelota por arriba.